Okay, hello. Welcome to week 12, Intro to Digital Design. We are getting really close to the end here. This is our fourth week of Illustrator. Next week will be our last week of Illustrator. And this week, as I said in my announcement, is our open lab last chance to get live feedback on your movie poster. I wore one of my only movie related t-shirts. Which is crazy because I do this project every term and I have no movie t-shirts, but I found this one. And so wore that in your honor today, guys. I have a few creative inspirations to share with you before we get into the movie poster feedback portion of the session. If you want to share your movie poster for feedback, for extra credit, put your name in the chat so that I can kind of gauge where we're going to be for the rest of our time. And then in the meantime, I want to share some really cool stuff that I found that is Illustrator related, Creative Cloud related, and also movie poster related. So I am going to share my screen, make sure I turn this on, even though I don't need it. And you guys should now see Firefox and Canvas, correct? I can't see any of your faces, so somebody give me a thumbs up and let me know that I'm indeed sharing the correct screen. Awesome. Okay, so the first thing that I thought I would share with you is something that I was looking for a few weeks ago. I couldn't find it anywhere and then stumbled across it when I was looking for something else, as that goes. This is an article that was in the Letterform Archives e-newsletter. This is an organization that I've told you guys about before that's awesome. They have a brick and mortar museum and workshop building in San Francisco, and they sent this out, and I had bookmarked it and then I couldn't remember where I saw it. A collection, an article of movie posters from India. And I love these for this class because of the simplicity and the color palette, because of the simplicity of the art, and just how cool they are as movie posters. So I wanted to just kind of give you guys a brief look at it, and then I will put the link to the article in the chat so that you guys will have it for your future reference. And if you wanted to read more about it, a lot of these are vintage, circa 1943, 1953, but you can see kind of the style and the movie poster kind of look and feel that is something that we have been talking about for the last few weeks, and as we looked at the Saul Bass posters. So I thought these were just really super cool.
They all kind of look like they were drawn by the same person. I
Yeah,
wonder
a
if they
lot of
were.
them are 2 and 3 color, which I think is awesome. I don't know if it says who, I mean, I'm sure it says in the article the different designers for them, but yeah, there's definitely a style coming out of India in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. And I think these are just so super cool. And these were like true movie posters that were in publications or posted up around the city to announce different films as they were coming out. And it looks like this article goes all the way through the 80s, which is pretty cool. It's a really cool, so much cool stuff in here. So I put the link for you guys in the chat, but that's the first thing that I wanted to share with you, and it is movie poster related. Before we move on to a couple of other things that are things that I want you to bookmark. This one I'm going to put in the chat for you because it is one that I cannot find unless I bookmark it. It kind of gets lost, and it is the Creative Cloud Discover page, where there are how-tos, there are trending things, there are all kinds of like really cool resources and things to look at, free assets here, just links to all kinds of potential stuff that you can use. in creating and in design. And it's a page that I will go to if I have a project that I don't know where to start. I just kind of want some inspiration. This is basically a graphic design magazine. You know, it's something that you can pull off your shelf, quote unquote, and just kind of get in there and see what's going on in the design world, you know, latest techniques. And they have, you know, as always on the Adobe website, their low-key navigation on the left doesn't appear to be, you know, navigation, and you kind of forget it's there, but you can jump to career resources, free assets, inspiration, live streams. These are, this is a page that as design students, bookmark it, save it, visit it often. So that is that. And then the other thing, which is, I love this channel on YouTube, is the Make It Now with Adobe Illustrator. I don't know if they have like a Photoshop version or an InDesign version, but these are super cool 1 minute or 1 minute plus videos of how to do things. And there's a bunch of them. They haven't updated it in a while, which makes me sad, but I love this collection that they have. And so this is one that I have bookmarked, and I will use it from time to time with class, or even with just people asking me, hey, you got any ideas of how to do this or that? And I will direct them to this page. This is a really cool one to bookmark as well. And then lastly, for our opening creative resources, I wanted to share with you, this is my collection of type related posts from Instagram. And I can't remember if I showed you this salty one yet. Do you guys? It's really quick. I'm going to show you again. It's a video kind of tutorial of a designer modifying a font into, you know, like a custom kind of logo or a custom logo type, which is super cool. He makes it look really, really easy, and it's not hard. Now that you have been working in Illustrator for a few weeks, you know about anchor points, you know about the direct select tool and the direct and the pen tool, and you know, smart guides and all of that. These are things that you can do and are capable of doing, and it's something you might consider for your movie poster. So I just wanted to share that with you. That is my intro for our class today. So from there, I want to move into kind of our open lab time. This is one of, you know, we had one for the Change the Context Photoshop project, and this is the one that we have for our movie poster before it is due next week, so that you can share your poster, get feedback. You should also have feedback by now on the actual assignment page from your work in progress, but this gives you a chance to get feedback a little bit further down the line, which is important as you're finalizing. You know, it's nice, it's important, and it's nice to not kind of work in a bubble and just, you know, have only yourself to look at your art. It's important to share with your peers, to share with you know, like what would be your art director or the senior designer, you know, if you were working at a design studio. So Stephen would like to share. I'm not sure. Oh, Spencer, you're giving me the thumbs up that I was showing the right page, so thank you. We'll just, you know, I'm going to turn it over to Stephen. And Stephen, what you can do is share your screen, show us where you're at with your poster, let us know what film you're doing, and like if there's intentions that you have for it that you haven't got to yet. And then also maybe if you have any questions or want advice in a particular area of your work. I'm going to unpin myself so that we can switch to, let's switch to just gallery mode, I guess. And then make sure that you can share. And then Stephen, you are welcome to take it away.
Can you hear me? Hello? Okay.
Yes.
Uh, this is yeah, this is what I got basically. These are the two posters I have. They are based on Halloween, the Michael Myers movie, and yeah, this is pretty much what I have.
All right, awesome. So I'm gonna move this over here. Everybody can see this, right? Correct? And I, for the record, went in and left everyone feedback who had turned in their work in progress on that assignment submission page. So you should see comments from me as well as from the peers that were assigned to review you. Stephen, what software is this? Because it does not look like Illustrator.
Oh, this is just an image. It's not in.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So this is just your export.
Yeah.
And these are your reference photos for the poster. I am gonna let your classmates respond first, and then because I kind of gave you some feedback on this, and I will just reiterate it, but it would be awesome, Spencer, not to call you out, if you would unmute yourself and like give your feedback for the recording, if you don't mind. Otherwise, I'm happy to read your comment if that's
Yeah, I was saying that I really like the black and white color scheme and how you use contrast with the text and different elements to make things stand out. And it also works well because it's like a horror movie, kind of fits the theme.
Thank you.
Yeah, agreed. Anyone else? In contrast, by the way, a principle of design. So as you guys have learned and are practicing the elements and principles of design, it's super helpful to practice using that vocabulary in your feedback. Just so it's just great to get in the practice of it, and it's super helpful for recognizing and creating like solid designs. I mean, those are the guidelines we got. Anyone else have any feedback for Stephen?
And a suggestion I had was I think you can do something really fun with the typography in your posters. One thing I noticed is that the jack-o'-lantern is like round. So you could incorporate that and make that the O in Halloween, and that would create more visual interest in your poster.
That's a good idea. All right, thank you. I'll keep that in mind.
I was thinking too regarding the typography. I like the all of the little kind of subheads, or the little
Quotes.
or whatever around the poster, because I think those add interest. And so if we're talking hierarchy, as far as your poster has or either one of them has a focal point of the image, right? So that's going to be kind of big. It's going to be the first thing that people look at. Then you'll create a typographical hierarchy where the title of the film is big and bold, and that's the next thing people look at. And then they look at all of the quotes. I think I would try making the quotes upper lowercase instead of all caps, and kind of bring the letter spacing together a little bit, almost so they read more like a newspaper quote, or like a secondary type solution for those, so that you don't have so much all caps, and so that it just adds a little bit like another tier. The size definitely helps, but it also, with them all being all caps, it gets a little overwhelming. Generally, when you have a line of text that's a sentence, or something that's over half a dozen words, you want to use you don't want to use upper lower, because it just gets really hard to read. Like you can see in Death Has Come to Your Little Town on the right hand side one, it gets a little bit hard to read that many words in all caps. So it might be something to try, and then leave Halloween big, and a big block of text, and possibly incorporate the jack-o'-lantern into the title type solution.
One
All
idea
right.
I had about incorporating the jack-o'-lantern was, remember how we were taught to do the type on a path tool
Mhm.
earlier? You could put I met him 15 years ago, it was a boogeyman, he came home on a single line and have it curve around
Mhm.
like the smile of the jack-o'-lantern on, I'm
Right.
thinking more for the left poster. That might be kind of fun. Like just make it kind of like fit that curve of the smile.
Mhm.
Not replacing the smile, if that makes sense. Just
Yeah,
like on
Yeah.
that area.
I agree too. And so, Stephen, do you have a preference, like one you think you're gonna go with?
So I am definitely gonna experiment with the jack-o'-lantern. I'll see how that turns out. And I like the type curve you suggested. That's a good idea.
Thanks.
I will probably try it with this quote, the boogeyman quote.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you.
Which layout do you prefer of your, because these are two different layouts, right? Which one do you think
Yeah.
you're gonna pursue to finalize?
I really like the second one the most,
Mhm.
but
Me too.
I do too.
I'd have to experiment with it more though, because it is you got the man himself right here. He's taking up a
Right.
majority of the poster.
And
So
that has to be vector, so you have to draw him still as part of, your work. So
yeah.
that's a little, I don't know if it's necessarily more work though. The face is really detailed and you could easily probably draw the figure with just even 2 or 3 different colors or shades of gray and black.
Well, it's a good thing that it is grayscale. I think that
Yeah.
makes it a little bit easier. And like you
Mhm.
can definitely like see the blocks of
Right. The
color of the
objects.
blocks of shades kind of coming
Mhm.
in. So
Yeah, and I think that the overall, like the focal point of that one is stronger. On the left-hand side poster, everything's kind of the same size, and so it's needs some work as far as like establishing a hierarchy and moving stuff around a little bit. Whereas the one on the right, everything's kind of in a really good spot already.
what do you think about having the Halloween text go in a straight line up and down like that?
I like it.
Yeah,
I
me
think it
too.
needs to be tightened up a little bit to like a little bit less letter space so that it has a little tiny bit more breathing room above and below it. But I'm not sure, like not too much. I would want to see, Stephen, your left hand margin, so the space between the edge of your page and say the W, because that's the one that comes out the furthest, be the same as the space between the top and bottom of the page and the top of the H and the bottom of the N. You know what I mean? So you've got like an even margin around the word Halloween on those 3 sides.
You want me to condense it a little more?
I
Is that
kind
what you're
of,
saying?
yeah, I think it might need to be condensed a
Okay.
little bit. But it's just, you'd have to play with it and try it. It may also work just to move it to the left a little bit. And so I don't know,
Ooh, I just had an idea.
Yeah.
So when you're vectorizing the guy here,
Uh-huh.
you should make the blood dripping and the blood on the knife red, but everything else
I
should be black and
mean,
white. That would be very spooky,
that was
I
gonna be my
think.
next question, was how you felt about adding color to it, and if that was
Mm.
something you thought about doing at all, because it is so strong as a black and white poster, but just like one little something of color, seems like it would be pretty cool. I want to look for this one poster that I think I showed you guys. I showed you guys like a bunch of student work last week, right?
I might have been a week before that. I don't remember.
Yeah, there's one that I'm thinking of, and I can't remember which one it is, but it has kind of like a similar vibe, and then it has just one color. Oh yeah, I think I was thinking of the Shining one. Let me see here. Shining poster. And then I'm trying to find one that has like a figure. I'll show you this one as well. I'm gonna switch to share my screen really quick, Stephen.
All right.
So these are two previous student posters that I think I showed you guys previously, but yeah, this one I was kind of thinking of with the very limited color palette and just like one color added to it. And then this one for the figure and just like how simple it could really be in order to capture kind of the essence of it's Michael Myers, right? And this poster, Halloween is Michael Myers.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
it.
That's what I thought, but I was kind of not
I
super
was
sure
never
either.
like I was never a big horror movie, but I do, you know, I was a teenager, so I have seen the classics. But yeah, is that helpful, Stephen, for you giving you some direction for where to go next and how to finalize your poster?
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah.
One more thing I wanted to suggest before we move on
Mhm.
is, Stephen, you should take a look at a bunch of like horror film posters and notice the font choice. You might want to experiment a little bit with the font for at least the Halloween title.
That's a good point.
I wouldn't go too overboard and make it too like, oh, it's so scary, but like maybe
Right.
just a little bit more serious or a little bit more unsettling. I don't know. You'll have to look around.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's a real easy Google search. You just, you know, you can type in Gothic font, horror font, scary font, and just kind of see what comes up. But a lot of them may be too overdone, you know,
Kind of
like
cheesy.
and might be end up being kind of cheesy. So that'll be something for you to decide as you're working on building that out. I think that the black and white, like Spencer was saying, is really strong, and that I think I would continue to just work in black, white, grayscale as you're creating vector art of your figure, and then decide kind of at the end if you want to add just like a spot of color somewhere, and then you know what that color might be. So great work so far. I'm super excited with all I've seen from everybody. I left, like I said, feedback to the extent of what I saw, you know, what I could give feedback on for everyone. So you should have that in order to finalize your poster. Your final poster is due May 1st. Which is 2 weeks. We have 2 weeks to continue working on them. So we may even have an opportunity to do this again next week. If anyone wants to bring what they have next week, you're going to be turning in just one single 11 by 17 PDF of your final poster. Consider, you know, once you get all those elements in place, you know, the movie title and your focal point, your illustration, and think about the extras and what kind of polish that you can add to the poster to make it authentic, whether it's you know, a movie company, production company logo, or that block of type at the bottom with actors' names and production company and the directed by and the produced by, all those kind of things that can add authenticity to your poster. The entire poster should be vector, with the exception of if you add you know, a movie company logo. For instance, you end up adding the Paramount logo to make it authentic. That can be a PNG or a JPEG, whatever kind of works. You want to make sure you don't have you know, a white background or some weird background behind it. So you're gonna have to do a little bit of finessing possibly in Photoshop if you can't find a logo with a transparent background. Other things I've seen people do are like coming soon, coming this summer 2023, you know, all of those things that would be put on a marketing poster. So any other questions about, or anyone else who wants to kind of share wherever they're at, or anything like that? Otherwise, I'm going to just move forward really quickly, and this is going to end up being one of our shorter Zooms. You have, let's see here. I have opened up not only this week's content, but next week's content as well, which is our last week of Illustrator, so that you have access to the tutorials that are in next week's module in case you wanted to use those techniques as you're finalizing your movie poster. So none of the due dates are moved up. It's just kind of open access, and it's up to you whether you want to get in there or not. This week you have a patterns exercise to complete in Canvas. It has a video and written instructions for you. And then you have an Illustrator quiz to complete. There are a couple of things that I want to show you regarding the patterns exercise. So let me go to our module for this week and then down to week 12. Here's it. We've got kind of a lot of pattern stuff going on this week. This is the theme of this week. You've got a creative inspiration based on pattern and surface pattern design, a lecture to read along with some tutorials to watch from Adobe. And then you've got your exercise to complete, which is just working to create or learning how to create patterns that you can save to your swatches in Illustrator. It's a super cool tool. I saved a couple of things that may be useful. This CSA images, I don't know if I shared with you guys before. I'm going to put a link to it in the chat. Is a really cool website that from time to time offers free vector art. They don't have it right now, but it's worth signing up for their e-newsletter. And also it's fun to just kind of browse what they have available here. They've got all of these vintage vector, everything's vector, illustrations, ornaments, dingbats, borders. Like there's so much cool stuff in here. So this is a creative resource that I have bookmarked that I always kind of think of as being pattern related. And it's actually where I got this pizza illustration that I use as an example in the patterns exercise. This is something super cool. I'm just going to share with you before we sign off. This is crazy, but in the spirit of patterns and surface pattern design, this company creates wallpaper and textiles with patterns, including scratch and sniff wallpaper, which is like crazy. And I'm not sure how I feel about it, but I kind of think it's awesome that it's a thing. So this is a fun one to explore and just kind of know that it exists. They are out of New York, I believe. And then lastly, I saved this fashion related article for you guys, any of you that are into fashion, just talking about monograms, and monograms in fashion are often turned into patterns, and why they are still a thing, why they're going strong. They are a staple and a classic, and you can't go wrong, honestly, with a good pattern. So I'm going to leave it there and we're going to call it a week. Again, if you guys get further on in your poster this week and have questions for me, make sure you email me. I am happy to give one-on-one assistance. I've got my office hours today at 3:30. Or we will do another live share next week. I've got to look and see what I have on the schedule, but I'm sure there will be time if someone else wants to share their poster. Stephen, if you want to come back and show us how far along you are or have additional questions for extra credit, that will be probably an opportunity also next week, but I'll message you guys and let you know. But that's it for this week.
And also I still have Zoom sessions on from 1 to 3 on Mondays and other times too. So if you want some like feedback or whatever, I'm also available. So
yeah, you guys are killing it. We're going to finish up Illustrator strong next week, and then we're going to get into InDesign for the last bit of this term. And then we're done. And it's going to be summertime. So thank you guys. Have a great week. Don't hesitate to reach out if you need me. All right. Take care.